Waking up late, rushing to class, and feeling behind before your day even starts, that used to be me. But then I built a morning routine that changed the game. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how I did it and how it made my college life 10 times easier. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, this is Sinhibungamba, an international student on a full scholarship, and I have a lot to share. Let me paint you a picture. My mornings used to be a disaster. Hitting the snooze 3 times, skipping breakfast, and sprinting to class like my life depended on it. I felt stressed, unfocused, and honestly, it showed in my grades. Until one day, I decided to approach it a little differently by making small changes one at a time. Let's start. So here is the morning routine that worked for me. It's simple, yet it made a huge difference in my life. For me, I fixed it at 7, somewhere between 7 to 7:30. And I say 7 to 7:30 because I'm not perfect. Sometimes I feel like waking up directly at 7, and sometimes I wake up at 7:30. But 7 a.m. might not be your ideal time, and it's perfectly fine. Because this specific time is not the magic bullet here. So if you decide to wake up at 8, it's about waking up at 8 every day. It's about the consistency. So by waking up at a consistent time, it helped me increase my energy levels and I no longer felt groggy in the morning. So think of it like this. Our body has a circadian rhythm, or we have our own internal clock. So when you wake up at different times every single day, you are throwing that clock off. So it's like giving yourself jet lag every single day by yourself. 7 a.m. might not be the ideal time for you. It's about choosing a time that works for you. Maybe you can wake up like 15-minute increments at a time. Like the next day you wake up at 8:45, then 8:30. Now we all know that waking up is one of my routine. But getting out of bed is a whole other story, right? Because the snooze button is really tempting. But trust me, hitting the snooze button makes it worse in the long run. And I have dealt with this my entire life. So I developed 2 strategies that work for me. The first thing that really worked for me is I set my alarm on my phone. I keep it on my table. So when you hear the alarm in the morning and you want to hit that snooze button, you have to actually get out of your bed, get up, grab your phone and hit the snooze button. You're magically awake. That's one thing I do. And another thing, which is really smart, is by programming myself. So when I used to stay at home, my mother always used to, scream in the morning. Not like scream in a bad way, like, you're waking up late, get up, it's already late, it's already 12. So I program this to myself, especially when I don't want to get out of my bed. I just program myself in my mind that my mother is yelling downstairs for me to get out of bed. This is another trick I use. It's working for me. Maybe you can feel free to try it out and see if it works for you. Comment down below if it works for you. Okay, now we are out of bed. What's the next step? Or what's the next thing I do in my routine? So think about it. Now we are officially out of that zone where we no longer have to hit the snooze button. So the next thing I do is make small movements. When I get out of bed, I don't do like a really intense physical workout or a morning walk, which is not very ideal for a lot of students. What I do is I just get out of my bed. I do some basic stretching, like stretching my hands, my arms, very basic things. So moving your body first thing in the morning clears your mind. I don't know how it works, but this is something I learned. Plus, it's a really good way to wake up and get out of bed instead of relying on our phone, because be honest, I use my phone and scroll for 20 minutes and I don't even get the benefit of waking up if I'm not getting out of bed. And now, speaking about breakfast, the next thing on our agenda is a quick and healthy morning breakfast. I used to skip breakfast all the time, especially when there's a morning early class. But now I make time for a quick and healthy breakfast. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a banana, any kind of fruit you like, or a cup of coffee, or just yogurt in the morning. Because this small fuel, believe it or not, it will increase your focus and energy levels. And I'll give you a trick. If you don't have enough time and you're someone who wakes up late, barely enough time to go for class, prepare your breakfast the night before. I do that, especially when I have to rush for a class early in the morning, and as I said, I'm a human being and I don't always wake up on time. I mess up, it happens. And especially since I'm here living in Milan, in Italy, the mortadella sandwich, I make it the night before and then I just grab that and I go to class. It's all about adjustment and like managing. You guys should know this. It's not about following my routine. It's about adjusting to your schedule. And by the way, if you're loving this video, give me a like and subscribe and comment down below what is your go-to breakfast for school. So now that we are fueled up after our breakfast, what is the next thing I do? So the next thing I do is I take my breakfast, I have my cup of coffee in my hand, I sit down on my table, I open my laptop and I check the schedule for the day. And this helps me figuring out my priority and what I have to do at the start of my day and what I have to do at the end of the day. So it's like I have control of my own schedule. And also sometimes I write down things like writing down your grocery list. It's a really good way to prepare yourself for the rest of the day. So that's it. This is how I start my morning routine, which is very plain and simple, but it might not work for you, but I'm here to tell you it will also work for you. So why does this routine work? It is because it sets the tone for the rest of your day. I'll explain. So by waking up on time, moving our body and fueling our body with breakfast and planning ahead, you are already in a productive mindset. Trust me, if you implement this, it will drastically change how you start your morning. For me, this routine helped me focus in class better, feel less stressed, and even manage my time more effectively. And I have also noticed that my mornings are way smoother now, and that confidence carries throughout the rest of my day. Now I'll share you some practical tips and common challenges. I know like starting a routine, a whole new routine can be overwhelming. So here are some tips that help me stuck to this routine. First thing is, do not aim for perfection. We are all human beings. Mornings do not always go as planned because sometimes you might really wake up on time, you might just be really early and in a really good mood, and you make your morning coffee and you spill your coffee on your clothes. So it's life. Not everything goes to plan. So second is setting up things before. By this I mean, if you have a really early morning class and you don't have enough time to prepare your breakfast, just prepare it the day before. And sometimes even the dress or the clothes you're supposed to wear in the morning, just lay it on your table the night before. This really helps. I'll tell you a really funny story. I had this early morning class when I was in my first year. So I literally slept in my jeans and my sweatshirts, and I just woke up the next day. I brushed my teeth, I made my breakfast, and I just went directly to class. I'm not telling you should do this, but this is something I did because I'm smart. No, it's because I'm lazy and I find ways to do things without taking much effort and time. But something you can do, you can try it out. So remember, consistency is key, but there is something more important than consistency. It's about intentionality. It's about your intention to change things. Deep down inside, I knew that I had a really bad habit, but I was not like intentionally willing to do it. And now that I am intentionally willing to do it and I'm doing it, it made a huge difference. And now it made my college life a lot easier because I start my day in a really bright and light mindset. So let me know if you're already doing all of these things subconsciously and you don't even realize it until you watch this video. And before I end this video, here is something I really wanted to share from the start. When you try to implement my habits, don't try to overhaul your entire morning with all of these habits. Just pick one and start with one. I know it's not going to work out for everyone, and I don't do it all the time. I mess up from time to time, and it's perfectly fine. It's just about making small changes. So start with just one. As my mother always used to say, even the biggest lakes and oceans, it just started with a drop of water. And besides this morning routine, if you want to rewire, recalibrate, and reinvent yourself and get ahead of 99% of people in 2025, please feel free to check out this video.